The year is 2021. Nintendo announces their cast for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Among them, Charlie Day Luigi, Jack Black Bowser, and the devil in the eyes of Nintendo fans, Chris Pratt as Mario. Now if you're like me, you probably didn't care that much when Chris Pratt was cast in the role of Mario, and it's no wonder that they wanted the biggest name they could find for the role, and them Guardians and Jurassic World movies do make a lot of money, so fine, whatever, who cares. But then, the unthinkable.
Oh no, this can't be.
Chris Pratt is cast in the role of Garfield. Now you have taken it too far. With the rest of the Garfield army by my side, we will put a stop to this. But how? The studios are too powerful for me to take them on myself. If only there was a good version of Garfield out there that we could use and make the people see the light. That's it, the ancient texts. Bill Murray Garfield. In this video, we're talking Bill Murray Garfield, a film with a reputation as a bad movie. But is it a bad movie, or do you just not like good Garfield content? Real talk, I have seen this movie probably more times than I have seen any other movie. This movie lived in my VHS player when I was a kid. There are multiple things in my daily life that I say that I did not realize until recently were lifted directly from this stupid orange CGI cat movie.
Got milk?
Oh, my poor nose!
And that's a sign that the tank is full.
Some of the visuals in this movie could wake me up from a catatonic state. To my future kids, if I am ever old and cannot remember anything, just wave this picture of the back of the kitty kibble box in front of me and I will likely wake up and remember everything that has ever happened. So it's safe to say I am more than familiar with this movie. Some would say a little too familiar with this movie. But before I get into the plot, I want to talk about some of the surface level facets of this movie, namely Bill Murray as Garfield. Now I don't know what blackmail the producers had on Bill to get him to make 2 of these movies, but he has gone on record multiple times saying that these are the movies in his career that he regrets the most.
Can you try now? Give me a little hairball now?
Now, I obviously understand this, but there are Bill Murray movies out there where there's even less life in his performance than there is in this one. And I must say, speaking purely objectively, if this movie didn't exist and you showed me a picture of this cat, I probably still would have picked Bill Murray to voice him. And he's not entirely phoning it in. Maybe he's phoning it in about 95% of the time, but sometimes his delivery is genuinely quite good.
Well, that just ain't gonna fly! What am I supposed to say? Thanks for saving my hide with Luca. Okay, thanks for saving my hide with Luca. Get off!
The other big casting is this guy as John Arbuckle. And let me say, what a spectacular casting. This just looks like a guy named John Arbuckle. What's his real name anyway? Breckin Meyer. Yeah, he does look like a Breckin. Wait a minute. Huh. The other big decision this movie makes is making Garfield this CGI monstrosity. In the film, there are other dogs and cats who look normal, or you might say normal, where their mouths just kind of move up and down like they would in a Tidy Cats commercial or something. But Garfield is a fucking beast who does not in any way, shape, or form resemble a real animal living on this planet.
Ma, there's a weird fucking stray cat outside. It looks like grandma, the fucking thing.
Garfield's facial expressions are always so hilarious because of this. This movie starts out in the best possible way. A slow pan giving us just a glimpse into the life of John and Garfield before the first line of dialogue is spoken.
Oh, I hate Mondays.
What an unironically genius first line to start this movie out with. What does the average know about Garfield? That he doesn't like Mondays, and that he likes lasagna. So the plot of this movie is that John Arbuckle lives an incredibly lonely life, working from home and oving in the cold food so he can of out hot eat the food, with his only company being his evil orange cat, Garfield. When I say John Arbuckle is lonely, I really do mean it. This man is pathetic. Garfield even calls him a
Hopeless loser.
John is in love with the local veterinarian, Liz, to whom he constantly looks at in an incredibly uncomfortable way. Liz, to whom he constantly looks at in an incredibly uncomfortable way. John is in love with the local veterinarian, Liz, to whom he constantly looks at in an incredibly uncomfortable way. John is in love with the local veterinarian, Liz, to whom he constantly looks at in an incredibly uncomfortable way.
I want you.
Anytime she leaves the room, John describes his desires out loud to his cat.
She's so beautiful.
He sleeps in full matching pajamas and has a model train set. This is a man who is chronically in need of some companionship. Garfield, on the other hand, does everything in his power to make John's life a living hell. Despite this, and don't get me wrong, I'm not on Garfield's side, John is the world's worst pet owner.
Liz, I am the worst pet owner on the planet.
He gives Garfield free reign over the neighborhood, and even inside the house, John has no control over his cat's behavior. The cat is constantly eating his food, but he is too much of a wimp to have any authority over him. At one point, he brings a bunch of grocery store lasagna home and tells Garfield not to eat it. Then he leaves the house without putting it away and is shocked to discover that Garfield did in fact eat it. Wait, why is he coming back with more groceries? He just came back from the store and then left to go to the store again. And then he leaves the food on the floor and puts nothing away. What? John, it's no wonder you have mice. Now, a couple things about this interaction here with Garfield. John tells him not to eat the lasagna, and then he walks away. Okay, fine. But what exactly happened here? Either A, John thinks Garfield is a normal cat, and he wouldn't understand what John is saying anyway, so then he would have no reason to be upset. Or B, John knows that Garfield can speak English and hopes he will listen to him. The problem here is, he knows Garfield is an asshole. So again, he really has no reason to be upset. Sorry about that, I got really bent out of shape about that lasagna scene. So the real main plot of this movie is that Liz weaponizes John's patheticness and forces him to adopt a dog, Odie. John brings him to his house and gives Odie a verbal tour of the home. After this, we have a little plot where Garfield has to learn how to deal with Odie. And remember, Garfield is evil, so he is constantly abusing Odie and trying to assert his dominance as the main breadwinner of the household.
Sure it was yours. Oh, I love to dish it out.
Somehow, despite all his shortcomings, John manages to get a date with Liz. And they go on a date to a dog show where she is working, and they don't even sit together. Garfield tags along and makes a mess of the dog show, jumping into a woman's moo-moo in his words, but the show is saved because Odie starts getting sturdy on the dance floor. I don't understand why John is so impressed by this. I get why everyone else would be. It's a dancing dog, there's nothing to sneeze at. But John's cat is pulling out these slutty ass routines on the regular, and I doubt Garfield is doing it discreetly. When they get back, Garfield destroys the house, and John in his anger locks him outside for the night. Remember, John is a terrible pet owner. Your cat sleeps inside with his teddy bear in his own bed that you probably built in one of your most devastating bouts of loneliness. Locking him outside is cruel, and you cannot be surprised when he goes missing later. But just when I start thinking John is the worst person in this movie, Garfield abuses Odie's kindness to lock him out. You know, I'm actually starting to think these two deserve each other. Now we get to the real meat and potatoes of the plot. Garfield has to rescue Odie from Happy Chapman. I totally forgot about the villain, who steals John's dog after seeing him at the performance because he's allergic to cats and wants a show dog. How am I at 3 pages talking about the fucking Garfield movie? Yeah, Happy Chapman wants to take Odie on the road with him so he can get a big time promotion in New York, baby. But he's an evil dog owner who makes all his dogs do backflips. So we need Garfield to look for him while John is busy looking for his dog in all the wrong places. But in case you forgot, Garfield is fat and unhealthy, so this is a big deal for him. Along the way, Garfield meets his mouse friend from earlier in the movie, and Garfield makes some interesting references.
Some of my best friends are vermin.
Kind of fucked up, Garfield. What? What kind of biases are you holding? The mouse eventually helps— I can't remember the mouse's name, I'm sorry. The mouse eventually helps him find the building where Odie is being held. While this is happening, John realizes that he also lost his cat during all of this. He looks for Garfield outside for all of 15 seconds before declaring that Garfield is lost. You give him free reign of the neighborhood, man. Maybe give it an hour before ringing the alarm bells. But Garfield manages to find Odie, only for Happy to come back and take Odie away before Garfield can free him. And then we get the real good shit from this movie. Let's pause. Part of the reason this movie has a not-so-beloved reputation is that if we go off of the Garfield comic strips, he doesn't really do anything. He's supposed to be just a fat fuck who complains all the time, but this movie has him shredding the gnar like he does it every day. And then if that's not enough, Garfield then falls 20 stories out of a building. I'm sorry, but they did not need to make him fall from that high up. The fact he falls into a lasagna truck is actually pretty funny though, and I'm gonna give them credit there. Then Garfield gets arrested, asks the guards if he has anything he can hang himself with.
Guard, may I have some shoelaces, please?
No.
And we get a massive prison break where this guard is fully incapable of even grabbing a single dog or cat. While Garfield is contemplating suicide in prison, John is investigating Happy Chapman and ends up in the building where he recognizes Garfield from his paw print. John, my man, you are so lucky that Liz seems to like goofy men, because if she didn't, it would be so over for you.
My dog and my cat are on that train.
Then we finally get to the train station, where it's revealed the villain's most sinister offense.
I hate lasagna.
Real talk, this is genuinely a very good way to pit the audience against the villain. He hates lasagna, but Garfield loves lasagna. He's the anti-Garfield. What's next? He loves Mondays? Garfield then causes a mass train pileup and is reunited with Odie, where we get endgame for dogs and cats. And they all mollywop our main villain and kill him with guns. John is reunited with his pets, and he embraces Garfield, who is clearly not actually there, and punches Happy Chapman in the face, and they all live happily ever after.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I feel good. I knew that I would now. Oh, shit. I feel good.
I was being sarcastic at the beginning of this video when I said that the Garfield movie would never be as good as this one, but I think there is something to be said that no matter what that movie ends up looking like, it'll never be as funny as this one. We simply don't get some of these low-budget, shitty live-action kids movies anymore. The most recent examples I can think of are the Sonic movies, but those are actually pretty good. I think the new one will be a perfectly fine, serviceable kids movie, but it'll never have the magic of Breckin Meyer's John Arbuckle. But you need not worry, friends, because there is a whole other movie of John Arbuckle in